Hi guys and welcome back. So I have a whole bunch of really soft blanket yarn and I've been wondering what I should make, and here's the perfect project. Today we're going to be making a little llama or an alpaca, and this one's going to be standing up. It's a really cute pattern, quite realistic looking, and it's really easy to make. Before we get started, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to get notified every time I post a video. If you try out any of my patterns, don't forget to send them to me either on Instagram or by email. The links are in the description below. So let's get started. So here are all the supplies you're going to need for this project. I'm going to be using Ali's Velluto. This is chenille yarn. So it's a little thicker, it's almost like blanket yarn, and I have some leftover of Bernard baby blanket as well. So I'm going to be using both of these. I have two different colors. I have a dark grey and I have some off-white. Along with this yarn, since it's a little thicker, I'm going to be using a 4.5mm crochet hook. I also have some thin black yarn that I'm going to use for detailing. You're also going to need a pair of safety eyes, a pair of scissors, a yarn needle with an eye big enough to fit thicker yarn, a stitch marker, as well as some stuffing. You can use polyfill, fiberfill, or stuffing from old pillows. So now we're going to get started with the legs. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the lighter color, make a slip knot, insert your crochet hook, tighten, and now you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. This is an alternate to creating a magic ring. With this sort of yarn, it is a little difficult creating a magic ring. Into that second chain, so we're going to skip the first chain. Into that second chain, we're going to place 5 single crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a little tricky working the first row because it is thicker yarn, plus it's a little hard to see your stitches, but if you actually feel around for your stitches, you can feel the grooves. Now for the second row, into each one of the stitches from the previous row, we're going to place 2 single crochets or an increase. It's 1 and 2 in the first stitch, 1, 2 into the second, there's the third one, again going in for 1 and 2 into the fourth one, 1 and 2, and finally there's the fifth one. We're going to do 2. That brings our stitch count total to 10 stitches for this row. Now I'm just going to pull my yarn up slightly and I'm going to add my stitch marker. This will make it easier to keep track of our rows. Now for the next 3 rows, you're just going to place 1 single crochet all the way around for 10 stitches for each of these rows. Make sure you count your stitches. I'm actually turning my work upside down because it's sometimes easier to see the stitches on the other side. That's 3, 4, 5, there's 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're back to the start with 10. That completes 1 row. I'm going to do 2 more rows, so 3 rows in total of just 1 single crochet all the way around for 10 stitches for each of the rows. Once you're done with your repeat rows, this is what it should look like. So if you can see, the stitches are so much more clear now. After a couple of rows, you can see them quite clearly. Now we're going to leave a tail, snip this yarn off. We're actually going to do a color change right now. So I'm going to tuck this side of the yarn in, pull up my grey yarn, place it in front of my loop and just pull it through. Now we're going to do 1 more row of just 1 single crochet all the way around for 10 stitches, but this time in the other color. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Now you can snip your yarn off, pull it through. That completes the first leg. Go ahead and make a second one exactly like this one, but don't snip your yarn off. So now I'm done crocheting the second leg. I'm going to do a chain 2, 1, 2. I haven't snipped my yarn off, as you can see. We're going to join to the first leg. So I'm going to join right here and just pull the yarn to secure the 2 legs in place. Now we're going to do 7 single crochets into this first leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're going to do an increase into the next 3 stitches. So into that first stitch, 1 and 2, into the second stitch, 1 and 2, into that third stitch right here, 1 and 2. Now you've come to the joining chain in between the 2 legs. You're going to go on to one side of this. Let me just show you. So there are the chains. I'm going to just go underneath the stitch, place 1 single crochet into the first chain. Here's the second one. Push the hook in, 1 single crochet into the second one. Again, now we're moving on to the second leg. Let's do 3 increases. 1 increase into the first stitch, into the second stitch, another increase into the third stitch, yet another increase, and now we're going to do 9 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're back to those 2 stitches. So we did 2 single crochets on one side. We're going to go to the other side and we're going to place 1 and the second one right here for 2. And for this row, if you count all the way around, your stitch count total should be 30 stitches. If you can see, we've joined the 2 legs together. Now I want you to repeat this entire pattern one more time. So create 2 more legs, join the 2 legs together one more time. And once you've reached your 30 stitches, meet me back here again. Now that I'm done crocheting both sets of legs, I'm just gonna grab my scissors, snip the yarn off the second set of legs as well, pull it through. Let's just tuck the loose ends in for now. It'll just make it easier when we're joining the 2 legs together. Okay, now we're going to line these up like this, and we're going to sew this middle part together, and then we're going to start constructing the body around. So now I've taken a few stitch markers and some paper clips just to mark out the stitches that we're going to sew together. So in total I want 11 stitches on both the legs to be taped off. So that's, let's start from here for now. We can move these around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 comes till right here. Let's do that in the next leg as well. Now you line up the legs together and make sure that these are roughly around the same side. So these work. That's good. Let's take our grey yarn. We're going to go into the first stitch on this side. So we're working from this end. I'm going into that first stitch here, into the first stitch in the corresponding leg, which is the one right here. I want it to be joined, let's say this way. Let's put it right here. and I'm just going to slip the yarn in front of the crochet hook and pull it through, chain 1. Now you're going to do slip stitches until you reach the other side. So now to do the slip stitches, you're going to go through the front of both sets of legs and just pull the yarn through. This can be a little tricky because we're working with thicker yarn. Let's go into the next 2 stitches. Make sure you're picking up the corresponding stitch. That's your second slip stitch. Here's slip stitch 3 into the next one right here for 4, into the next one 5, into the next 6, next 7, 8, 9, 10, and right here we have 11. So if you see, you have your 2 legs joined together. Let's remove all those stitch markers. So now we're going to start crocheting the body. To crochet the body, you're going to start with the chain 1. This counts as your very first stitch, so I'm just going to mark that with a stitch marker to keep track. Tighten up the yarn, and now we're going to be working around the perimeter. So you'll have 38 single crochets around, not including that chain 1. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've come to the bridge in between. 10, and we go on to the other side. 11, 12, 13, 14. So basically go all the way around like this until you reach this stitch marker. Your total should be 39 stitches for this row, including the chain 1. Now for the next 4 rows, you're just going to place 1 single crochet all the way around for 39 stitches for each of the rows. So just to explain to you again, we're just working around over here. We've attached this part, we can forget about it, just around. So go ahead, complete the next 4 rows and then meet me back here again. Once you're done with your repeat rows, this is what it looks like. You have a cute little body getting formed. Let's work on the next row now. Now we're going to start doing decreases. So let me show you how to do a decrease. Insert your crochet hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop. Insert your crochet hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. That's your first decrease. Do that again for your second decrease. One more time for your third decrease. So we've done 3 decreases. Now we're going to follow that up with 27 single crochets. 2. We're going to do 3 more decreases. Insert your crochet hook into the first stitch, into the next 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through. That's your first decrease, second decrease, and your third decrease. And this should bring your stitch count total to 33 stitches for this row. Moving my stitch marker, let's get started with the next row. Once again, we're going to start with 3 decreases. First decrease, second, second, and third. Follow this up with 21 single crochets. Once you're done with your 21 single crochets, let's do our 3 decreases again. First decrease, and here's our second decrease, and finally our third decrease, bringing our stitch count total for this row to 27 stitches. Now before we proceed, just pull your yarn out a little bit, grab some stuffing, and you're going to fill up the body. Don't forget to push right down to the legs as well, and add enough stuffing throughout the body. So now that we've added this stuffing, we're going to leave a long tail. We're going to use this to sew on part of the body. I'm snipping my yarn off, and I'm just going to pull it through that last stitch that we made. And now you want to sew 10 of these stitches together. So you're going to go back and forth this way for 10 stitches. So first we're going to thread up our yarn needle, and now let's start working back and forth. So we'll start here. That's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So I'm going into the 10th stitches on either side. I'm just gonna pull my yarn through and go across. And sew this part of the body shut. Like this. Now count your stitches. You should have 17 stitches left. Now once you sewed on the back, we're just going to hide this end in. So go over a couple of stitches on the bottom just to make sure this doesn't unravel later. That does happen a bunch of times with plush yarn. Tends to unravel sometimes, so just gonna go over a couple of stitches, and once this is properly hidden and you're feeling happy with it, just snip your yarn off. So I think I've done enough. I'm gonna grab my scissors, snip it off. Now you can push some more stuffing at the back if you feel like it's not stuffed properly. Still have a chance to add some more stuffing. Now we're going to start working on the neck, and for that I'm going to reattach my yarn. So I'm going into that last stitch right here. Just place your yarn in front, pull it through and chain 1 to secure. For this row we're just going to place 1 single crochet all the way around that hole for 17 stitches. So in case your number of stitches aren't 17, you can just adjust your sewing at the back. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, let me just tuck this in for now. 16, and into the next stitch, that's 17 stitches. So this is how we're going to start working around the neck. We're going to be working in this circle around right here. Now for the next row, you're going to start with a decrease. So I'm placing a decrease into that first stitch, followed by 13 single crochets. And then we're going to end the row with another decrease right here, and this should bring our stitch count total to this row for 15 stitches. For the next row, we're going to start with a decrease again right there, followed by 11 single crochets. And then we're going to end the row with another decrease, bringing our stitch count total for this row to 13 stitches. We're going to follow this up with one row of just one single crochet all the way around for 13 stitches for this row. Now at this point we're going to do a color change again. So I'm going to snip my yarn off. I have my last stitch right here. I'm going to grab my off-white yarn that I was using previously, just pull it through like this. Let's just tie these together so it doesn't unravel later. And now for this row, you're just going to do one single crochet all the way around for 13 stitches for this row, but this time in the white. So now don't forget to add stuffing to the neck as you keep proceeding. You're going to have to keep adding stuffing. Let's put in our stitch marker. And we'll start with the next row. We're going to start creating the face or the head right now. To do the head, we're going to start with an increase in that first stitch. 1 and 2. You're going to follow that up with 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3 and 4. In the next 3 stitches, let's do increases. Into that first stitch, we're going to do 1 and 2. Into the next one, again 2, 1, 2. Into the one after that, 1 and 2. And then into the next 4 stitches, we're just going to place 1 single crochet. And into that very last stitch, we're going to place our last increase. And this should bring your row stitch count total to 18 stitches for this row. That's 1 and oh, the stitch marker, so that's a little hard. Let's just remove that. Back into the same stitch. And that's your 18 stitches. Now for the next 4 rows, you're just going to place 1 single crochet all the way around for 18 stitches for each of the rows to create the head. Once you're done with your repeat rows, it's time to add our safety eyes. So we're going to go 2 rows down, 1 and 2. We're going to place the eye, leave 3 stitches in between, 1, 2, 3, and then place the second eye like this. Once you're happy with the placement, add the safety backing and continue to add stuffing with every row that we proceed now. Now for the next row, you're going to place 1 single crochet followed by a decrease 6 times all the way around until you're left with 12 stitches for this row, like this. Now for the last row, you're just going to decrease 6 times all the way around, and then you just have to close up the head. Let me show you how. So do your 6 decreases. Once you're done with your decreases, we're going to leave a tail that we're going to use to sew up the hole on the top of the head. Thread up your yarn needle, and then you're just going to do a stitch across to close up the hole on top. Once you're done with that, you can just hide the ends, and that completes the head, legs and body of your llama. Now we're just going to work on the face as well as the ears. Let's start working on the snout. We're going to start with a chain 2, 1, 2. Make these stitches loose because we're going to start working into that second chain. Into that we're going to do 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now for the next row, you're going to place a single crochet into that first stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, into the third stitch, which is the one right here. We're going to do an increase 1 and 2, into stitch number 4, again an increase 1 and 2, into stitch number 5, 1 single crochet. It's a little tricky working on the first couple of rows. Let's just push it inside out. There you go. So yeah, into stitch number 5, 1 single crochet, into stitch number 6, 1 single crochet, bringing our stitch count total for this row to 8 stitches. For the next row, let's start with 3 single crochets, 1 into the first stitch, 1 into stitch number 2, 1 into stitch number 3, followed by an increase 1 and 2, and an increase into the next one again 1 and 2, and then place 3 more single crochets 1, 2 and 3. And now you can just pull the stitches apart a little bit to flatten your piece a little, and this is going to go on the head like this to create the snout. Into the next stitch, let's do a slip stitch and leave a long tail that we're going to use to sew on later. Snip the yarn off and pull it through. And that completes our little snout. Now let's embroider this with some black yarn. So now that we've crocheted the snout, let's take some black yarn, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a Y to make the nose. So that's the midpoint right here. I'm going to go across one side, pull the yarn through, go back to the midpoint, go to the corresponding other side, back to the midpoint, and then go straight down. And once you're done, you have a Y like this. This is what the snout looks like. Just move the threads in place, and now let's thread up our yarn. Now we're going to place the snout right in between the eyes. So that's right here, and we're going to do a simple stitch to attach this in place. So go through the snout and through the head and just do a simple stitch to attach the snout in place like this. And once you've sewed on the snout, this is what it looks like. Now let's work on the ears and a tiny little tail. So the tail is going to be a really simple pattern. We're going to start with a slip knot. Make 2 loose chains, 1 and 2. Into the second chain from the hook, you're going to make 6 single crochets. And then for the next row, into each one of those stitches, you're just going to place 1 single crochet. For 6 stitches for this row, fasten off and your tail is done. Once you're done, this is what it should look like. And now you can attach this to the back of your alpaca right here. Once you've added the tail, this is what it looks like. So now let's start working on the ears. We're going to create 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Into the second chain from the hook, you're going to do a slip stitch. Into the next chain, place a single crochet. Into the one after that, place a double crochet. Into the next one, place a single crochet. And slip stitch into the beginning to create a little ear. Create a second one exactly like this one, and then we'll sew it on. Now let's attach the ears. So I've threaded up my yarn. I'm going to go above the eyes. Push the ear in place, curve it so that it faces outwards. And then we're just going to do a simple stitch to attach this in place and then hide our ends. Like so. Once you're done attaching one ear, go ahead and attach the second one. And that completes our little llama. This is such a fun project and it works up so quickly. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you liked the video, please share it with all your friends and subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell icon to get notified every time I post a video, and do go and check out the other videos that I have. I have quite a few on the channel right now. Until next time, bye bye.